Even after India's liberalization, agriculture remained a very important part of India's economy. This is because a massive population of India was involved in the sector. However, agriculture faced massive reforms after liberalization. The government aimed to increase productivity, modernize farming, improve irrigation, promote technology, encourage exports, and diversify crops. Policies focused on better seeds, fertilizers, mechanization, rural credit, and infrastructure. India also increased focus on horticulture, dairy, fisheries, and cash crops. High yield seeds, fertilizers, and irrigation improved yield in many regions. India became more self sufficient in food grains. Farming increasingly connected with markets. Now, farmers were growing crops for profits, not only for subsistence. The use of tractors, irrigation systems, biotechnology, and modern equipments gradually increased. Sectors like dairy, poultry, and fisheries expanded rapidly. Even after reforms, India's agricultural sector was not free from problems. There were many problems that still existed. Indian agriculture is heavily dependent on monsoons. Early retrieval of monsoons can significantly affect crop yield. Even early incoming of monsoons can affect the crop yield badly. Many farmers own a very small plot of land. This reduces productivity, and the farmer also doesn't earn much profit. Aggravating to this factor, many farmers have unstable income. They are buried under the pressure of debts. Regional inequality is very important in agriculture as well. Overall, in India, only some states have progressed much more than the others. So, agriculture is concentrated in certain states of India, but the other states of India are not able to produce that much crop produce. There are still many problems in agriculture infrastructure. The storage problem is really massive. Transportation is really tough. There are cold chains, and irrigation facilities are very bad in certain states. Farmers often face unpredictable market changes. This causes uncertainty among the farmers. This is usually because of calamities, excessive use of fertilizers, water degradation, soil erosion, and climate change have become major problems in the agricultural industry. Even though agriculture has improved in many ways after liberalization, but still the internal structure has not yet been altered well enough such that there are no problems in the industry, which is technically impossible, but there are problems. So now let's move on towards the industrial sector. The next big sector which involved reforms after 1991's liberalization were industries. The goal was simple: to make India more competitive, efficient, and globally connected. We've talked so much about the license Raj. Now the license Raj had come to an end. But there were still some licenses, and therefore there was little bureaucratic delay. This bureaucratic delay was much less in comparison to what was there before 1991. So yes, it was a progressive change. Many industries which were previously only concerned with the government were now open to private companies. Indian markets were now much more accessible for foreign companies. Technology transfer greatly increased. The government began reducing ownership in some public enterprises. Indian industries were now competing with global firms. This pushed modernization along with efficiency. Over time, India introduced traditional reforms like Make in India, ease of doing business initiatives, startup ecosystem support, infrastructure development, digitalization, manufacturing, automobiles, pharmaceuticals, telecom, and technology sectors expanded significantly. India's industry still faces many problems. No industry is free from problems, as I've repeated again and again. Let's decipher those problems now. Power shortages, transport bottlenecks, and logistics create massive problems in industries. Industry growth is concentrated in certain states and cities of India. Other cities and states are lagging behind. This is not what a developing country wants. Concerns of unemployment and loss of jobs have still been a problem in industries in India. Smaller industries sometimes struggle against large domestic competitors or foreign firms. The development of industries has led to massive levels of air pollution and noise pollution. Some industries are still heavily dependent on imported technology and chips. India's industrial sector has undergone massive transformation after liberalization, but development again remains uneven. Finally, let's move on towards India's foreign trade. Here is signs that India has undergone transformation after liberalization was only seen after India was connected to global trade and global companies were entering India. That is, there was introduction of FDI, foreign direct investment. India's trade volume increased significantly. Exports expanded in software, pharmaceuticals, textiles, engineering goods, back office services, and processed services. Imports also rose, especially crude oil, edible oil, precious metals, coal, machinery, and electronics. India now started trading with more countries. This led to development of Indian economy and distinguished India into different sectors. India became globally recognized for IT services, software, and business process outsourcing. The service sector became a major foreign exchange earner. Compared to the 1991 crisis, India's reserves grew massively over time. This improved economic stability. India now reduced import restrictions, quotas, and tariffs. The economy became more outward oriented. India also joined the trade framework more actively, and India engaged in trade activities. Thus, trade agreements also increased. India often imports more than it exports. This is primarily due to oil and electronics imports. Global slowdowns affect Indian exports. International crises impact India's growth. India's industries have been facing major global competition. This has been slowing down India's economic income. Certain sectors dominate exports. This makes trade vulnerable to sector-specific shocks. Port delays, transport costs, and supply chain inefficiencies still affect competitiveness. India's economic journey after 1991 has been one of the biggest transformations in modern history. Before 1991, India focused on protection, planning, and state control. After 1991, India moved towards competition, global integration, and market reforms. And the results were supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Economic growth accelerated, technology expanded, infrastructure developed, and global connections increased. However, liberalization didn't solve everything. There were still problems. Agriculture still struggles. Inequality is everywhere. Infrastructure gaps continue. Caste-based system drama and whatnot have still not been solved. Because economic growth alone does not always accompany or guarantee equal growth. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Every economic system solves certain problems but gives rise to new ones. The real challenge is balance between markets and regulation, growth and equality, globalization and self-reliance. And India is still trying to find that balance today. With this, we come to an end to India's post-liberalization economic story. Follow LeapFROG for more. More content is coming your way.